Everybody knows that among humans there are some people inclined to murder, usually because they suffer from certain mental deviations. It gives us the creeps when we remember the heinous crimes committed by such people. For example, the awful murders of the famous serial killer Daniel Camargo Barbosa. He was responsible, according to different sources, for 150 brutal murders. Nonetheless, there are animals that would look at this number and laugh their asses off. So, here we have some creatures that kill people, not to eat, but just to have a little bit of fun. Let's get it on. Kesagake, the bear. In 1915, the small village of Sankibetsu, Japan, was accustomed to the appearances of Kesagake, the brown bear. He used to visit the village and regale himself with the corn from the local fields. At the end, the villagers got tired of the bear's visits, and so two hunters decided to drive away the beast, hoping he would not come back to steal their food. They managed to hurt Kesagake and forced him to run away to the mountains, but he was pretty pissed off and wanted revenge. December 9th, 1915, the Ota family became the first victim of the angry predator. He entered the family's house, killed a little baby, and went on after the mother. The poor woman tried to throw firewood at him, but it didn't help. Kesagake killed the woman and dragged her into the forest. After that, a squad formed by the same residents of Sankibetsu went to the forest to kill the beast once and for all. They hurt the bear, but again, he escaped. What the hunters didn't know was that they were dealing with a smart-ass beast. The bear actually covered his own traces and went back to the unprotected village, passing right under the noses of the people following him. In the town, the bear perpetrated a massacre, and the hunters couldn't believe their own eyes when they came back. Only 5 days later, on December the 14th, one of the hunters finally put an end to the slaughter and killed Kesagake. When measured, the bear weighed 749 pounds and was 8.85 feet tall. The Ghost and the Darkness. Our next story is so freaking staggering that it inspired 3 motion pictures and a book. The events took place in Kenya in 1989, during the construction of the Kenya-Uganda Railway under the command of Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson. In a period of 9 months, from March till December, 2 man-eater lions that went by the names of Ghost and Darkness terrorized people working at the construction site. And they didn't only have both really cool names, but they were brothers too. At night, the lions used to drag builders out of their tents and eat them. That way, the predators killed more than 140 men. The builders were freaked out and began to flee away from the construction, which had to be stopped for lack of manpower. Lieutenant Colonel Patterson received the order to get things under control by any means, and so he had to hunt these monstrous felines down, all by himself. Soon after, he found the man-eater's den, a cave near Tsavo River, where he found several corpses. Strangely enough, most of them were uneaten and were just lying there rotting in the cave. Something unusual because lions don't act like that. At the end, after many weeks of hunt, the Englishman shot one of the maniac brothers down. A little bit later, he killed the second lion. The main difference between the lions and others from the same family was the absence of mane, although they were both males. The largest beast was 9.8 feet long, from the point of his nose to the tail. Years later, in 1924, Patterson sold the lion's skins to the Chicago Field Museum. The lions were stuffed and are, until now, on display. The Beast of Gévaudan. Another astounding story that inspired a couple of films took place in the small village of Gévaudan in northern France in 1764. We're talking about the famous Beast of Gévaudan that killed over 100 men in 3 years. The witnesses described the animal in different ways. Some said that it was a wolf-like dog, while others said they saw the devil himself. The animal had no problems escaping from the hunters and avoiding their traps, and therefore people started talking about the beast having supernatural powers. It got so big that the French government ordered the extermination of all the wolves in the near forests, but even that didn't help, and the murders just went on and on. And then finally, on June 19th, 1767, in one of the biggest hunt parties with more than 300 men in it, one hunter called Jean Chastel managed to shoot the beast. Moreover, Jean was really superstitious, so his gun was loaded with blessed silver bullets, and therefore people were sure that the Beast of Gévaudan was actually some sort of supernatural entity. Gustave. If you think that animals like these do not live on our planet anymore, you are very wrong. In the African lands of Burundi lives the biggest man-eater predator on Earth, a giant Nile crocodile that goes by the name of Gustave. He is considered one of the biggest crocodiles in Africa, something obvious given that he is 20 feet long and weighs 6 tons. And don't forget, he killed more than 300 people. For 70 years, Gustave has been terrorizing those who live near the Ruzizi River and on the northern shores of Lake Tanganyika. The hunt for this crocodile serial killer goes on till today, but every attempt has been in vain. Many times it has been said that the famous reptile has been killed, but in 2008, a National Geographic expedition found that, against all rumors, Gustave was in good shape. Champawat tiger. But the prize to the most dreadful maniac in history goes to the Champawat female tiger, who perpetrated a really bloody massacre on Nepal at the beginning of the 20th century. Men, women and children were victims of her attacks and ambushes. When the government found that 200 people had been killed by the tiger, they decided to send the National Guard after her. However, feeling the outcoming storm, she ran away from the country to India and continued to savagely kill people. The number of murders rose to 400 when the Indian government decided to ask for help from the legendary hunter Jim Corbett, a British specialist in bringing down man-eating creatures. Jim found the beast really quickly when she was eating a 16-year-old girl. Without thinking much, Corbett shot the beast and ended the bloody adventures of the feline. By the moment she got killed, the tiger took the lives of 436 people. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks, and we'll be right back to you as fast as we can.